Hey, Ian here. I wanted to do a little rundown of the remix I did recently. I did did most everything on this little device here, Dirtywave M8. So I was gonna go through each of the tracks just to show everybody how I made this track. So I'll start out a little bit with the intro. So yeah, here you'll see it's mostly pads, drums, and the vocals. So the way I lay out my M8 songs is I usually use the first four for like drums and percussion, and then the last four tracks for the like musical elements. So for one, I'll have the kick. Two, I usually have like mids or break beats. Three is more the high end, like shakers or hi-hats. And four, I kind of leave open. Sometimes I use it for effects. Five is always bass. Six is for pads. Seven is for like leads and plucks, maybe arpeggios. And then eight I use for like samples. So in this case, you'll see this is where all the vocals are coming from. So the vocals I actually I got them from Asphodèle, the artist who I remixed, and I kind of laid out the vocals the way that I wanted and then exported it in 8 bars. So yeah, I work in 8 bars in the M8. So for the vocals, you'll see each chain, it's just 8 bars of one sample playing all the way through. So I'll play this. No, that'll play for 8 bars. And that just goes all the way through the song to deal with all the vocals. For the breaks, that's the way I usually do. So I think when I start out, you can see 2-0 is probably like the first breakbeat bit that I made using a sampler. And so I guess let's see. So I'll start out, with a simple thing and then mess it up in the next bar. And that's usually how I work. Yeah, I start out with a breakbeat, mess it up, kind of go back and forth, and then do little flourishes on 4 bars and 8 bars. So let's see in this one, what do I do? I guess not that much, but and then this last one here, I do a little bit more of messing up with the sample. See, I'm reversing the sample here and then doing a little bit of retrig and sending a little bit to the reverb. So I'll come up with like some kind of drum break, and then when I go back to the intro, I'll simplify that drum break and add on a filter, or to do like a low pass filter. So see here, yeah, the drum break isn't quite open because I'm still introducing the track. And yeah, much less flirt. Yeah, I mean, there's like no flourishes. It just kind of goes back and forth between 2 different types of breaks. So it looks like I keep the filter low, and then when I come over to the 8 bars before the first kind of like breaking into the track, take the filter and then use a rep command to slowly open up the filter over these 8 bars. So if I start playing this, you hear the filter, you can see the filter is coming up more until it's completely open. So yeah, let's take a look at, yeah, right before the drop, I do a little fun things. So I'll play these 2 bars together. Kind of the drum break regular. Reverse it. So here I was like trying to do a almost like a backspin on a DJ thing. So yeah, I reverse the sample, pitch bend up, and then pitch bend down. So yeah, it really sounds like DJ spinning back the table, and then have like a little, I think this is just like the kick reversing into a kick. That kind of just jumps it into the track. So yeah, that's it for the intro of the breaks. Over here I have pads, introduce the main chord progression using hypersynth. Let's take a listen to that. Nothing too special going on there. Low pass filter. I like having it super wide. Yeah, lots of chorus and delay and reverb. Yeah, looks like I'm just keeping the low pass filter low. And then probably in this one, yeah, low pass filter, I kind of just open up the filter to kind of create some tension before the breaking into the main part of the track. Let's play from here. Nice sound. So yeah, let's get into first kind of drop of the song. So if I just start from track 1, it's my kick. So yeah, I did kind of some fun with this. Usually I use samples for kicks, but I guess in this track I just felt like making a kick. So I'm using the FM. The way this is working, so operator A is going into B. So I'm using these 2 operators to make most of the tone. So I have a little bit of FM shooting into this main operator, which is like the low bit. And I would guess, yeah, so I got a attack decay envelope hitting the FM just to give a little bit more harmonics on the punch of the kick, and then I add in operator C and D is just like a noise and a click, and yeah, it looks like I route everything to mod 1 except for the click. Click doesn't, it's just a click at the start of the sound. But mod 1, yeah, is same attack decay envelope as the FM for this. And then I also just take an attack decay envelope to the main pitch to give that real kick drum sound. And then I'm using a drum envelope on the volume to control most of the body of the kick. So actually it kind of ended up sounding good. Yeah. Just trying out new sounds for this one, I guess. Breaks I kind of went over before. I think this is essentially the same as chain 20, but since there's filter things going on in the intro, I just stop that. You see these arrows above FX3. I stop the modulation of the filter on the brakes. And then I introduce some shakers here, huh? Yeah. So nothing special on this. It's just a tambourine shaker. And it's already at the same BPM of the track. So worked out perfectly. I don't think I do anything with that other than just have it re-looping. Maybe a little bit of a flourish here. Yeah, that's like on the 8th bar, so I guess we could hear that with the drums. See what happens. Yeah. Alright, so yeah, and track 4, mostly it looks like I use this all for effects, so I think on this one I just have a sample to just a little crash of some sort. So let's get into the bass. So for the first drop, I tried to keep the bass very, I don't know about subtle, but not a lot of harmonics. So I think let's hear this for a little bit. So I'm using FM. So this is the bass, like the main operator, and I have 3 other operators being added, and then FM to the low note. So yeah, it's looking, I guess I was doing a 1, 2, and then a 4 harmonics, and then kind of like offsetting them, detuning them a little bit so that the bass is always a little bit wavy. And so yeah, the FM is kept pretty low. I have a tag decay envelope on the FM. And this modulator is not used, but this one's just ADSR to control the volume. And I have it sidechained to the kick with the trigger envelope. Yeah, I was trying to keep it more muted at the beginning so that I can have it stronger for the final drop. Pads I already went over, but now I think I bring back down the filter. So in the intro, I kind of open up the filter, bring it back down. Let's see how that sounds. So the filters are opening for both the brakes and the pads. Everything's brought back down. You can increase energy and then kind of mute everything again to introduce the vocals. Yeah, sorry if there's like some clicks. It sounds like running audio and capturing the video. The M8 is being a little bit weird. So for the 7th track, I was doing like arpeggios. So let's take a look at those. I'll play the whole phrase. Oh, I'll just play this phrase. So I'm actually using 2 different instruments, and I think mostly I was trying to get a lot of like playing with pan, because everything else in the track is mostly center. The vocals, there's some background vocals on the sides, but I wanted to create more movement with panning. So let's take a look at the first instrument. This one's a wave synth, pulse, the low pass. And you see pan is like all the way to the left here. Yeah, pretty simple. I guess like a little bit of movement on the warp, and then got a attack decay envelope on the filter, and also on the volume. So it's just straight up pluck, no hold or anything like that. Let's see for the second one. So if I go back and forth between, so yeah, it's just slightly changed. So yeah, it's like a different pulse, and everything else is pretty much the same. But yeah, I just wanted each sound in each ear to be slightly different, so it almost sounds like the same instrument, but it's not. So yeah, that's pretty much how it sounds. And yeah, I just introduce it slowly, like you can barely hear it at this point. The need for your soul. Your fingers are cold. My head is. So yeah, I'm just slowly introducing it until we get to a breakdown. And I think, yeah, pretty much, yeah, the cutoff is just opening up, and all the way up until the final drop. So I introduce it in the middle of the first drop and let it build throughout the breakdown, and then cut it off at the second drop. Let's see what. So here's the breakdown. Touch of a can't hear it now because the rep command comes in way back here, but arpeggios are more open here. And I bring the pads back down, but then open them back up, and then everything kind of like increases in volume and opening up the filters, and then I add in some effects right before the drop. So for this here, I use FM synth to kind of create a riser, so I'm pitch bending it up and then increasing the FM1. Let's see what I do with that. So pretty much got like two sides. So the first two operators, it's just a tone, and then the other operators FMing that tone, and that's all being pitch bent up. So like as it's getting pitch bended up, there's also a lot of like harmonics being added into it. And then I just have a noise on the other operator, and that is also linked to mod 1. So as this is increasing, the tone is also getting more harmonics, and the noise is coming in more. Let me show you how that sounds. Let's see, do I have, yeah. I guess that's it. Yeah, I didn't use any modulators. And since the FM is slightly detuned, yeah, it kind of gets this weird wavy kind of thing going on. So that goes for these 8 bars, and then it goes through, and then I guess I do mess with the, I wonder if that was not used. I think I initially had the idea to mess with an LFO, but looks like I took that off and ended up not liking it. But essentially I just cut it off a bar before the drop so that it kind of like rings out with all of the reverb and delay. And then the other thing I did over here on track 1, so you'll see I'll kind of just like for effects and messing with things before drops or whatever, I'll just put in chains where I can fit them. So especially right before a drop, oftentimes I don't have the kick going, so I'll kind of just use this empty chain to do some stuff. But for this one, yeah, I actually just took the main volume of the track, so right before the drop, I actually increased the volume create like a lot of drama. And then right before the drop, like the bar before, I reduce the volume really quickly, so it kind of like swells up, comes down, and then breaks back open for the main drop. So yeah, let's hear how all that sounds together. You won't really hear the arpeggios as I described before. The automation comes way before. I don't want to play like all these bars, but I'll play these 16 bars. So for the final drop, I pretty much drop everything out except for the vocal, or at least in terms of melodic elements. I drop out the pads, I drop out the arpeggios, so it's just vocals and bass and drums. And but for the bass, now I changed instruments, or I just copied the last instrument but increased the FM a little bit more, so there's just like a little bit more harmonics in the second drop. You know, the bass is a little bit more full. Let's hear how that sounds. That's compared to this. Yeah. And there are some fun things I do. Like I feel like around here, what do I? Yeah, so like I'll do a little bit of flourish. So I don't do too much flourish in the first 8 bars, but in the second 8 bars, you see in the last bar, like increase the FM and increase the filter and send more to the reverb, so it kind of creates a cool flourish. So if I play from here with the drums and everything, oh, I think I have to play earlier because oh yeah, everything is legato on this bass. Let me see where. Okay, here it looks like I start. Yeah, I just think this makes a nice little like lead into the next section of the song. Drums are essentially the same from before. Yeah, maybe I did a little bit. Yeah, no, it looks exactly the same. So after 16 bars, I add back into the pads. You know, very low cut off low. Same with the arpeggios. And I just slowly bring those back in to, you know, make some drama before the outro. Yeah, there's a little. Oh yeah, about the main part of the drop, I forgot to talk about. Yeah, I took another FM synth, but I think this one I'm just using the noise. Oh, and a little bit of a tone to make like a down sweep. Let's hear that. Yeah, so I have a pitch bend down. Here I'm just like cutting off modulation that was happening during the build-up from this instrument. And then taking the volume. So yeah, I used the rep command with volume instead of using a like an envelope, because I found that this is much slower, so it could really let the down sweep kind of ring out. It's fun. And then here I'm using the same down sweep as before, just a little crash. So that all kind of leads up into the outro, and for the outro I go back to kind of like muted drums here, and another little crash. I still have the pads. So yeah, let's take a little listen to the outro. For the outro, yeah, kind of like resolve, because I think you'll see this is like a new chain. So I think the chord progression of the pads, they never quite resolve, and they just kind of circle around. And it always feels like there's tension. So I felt like at the very last chord, I would just resolve it. So I think I'm gonna end on a C, and it's just like a nice, almost like I guess this is like a guitar power chord. Yeah, just no, it has a third in it. Yeah, so just a minor chord. I just felt like that just kind of resolves the song to finish out. So yeah, that's everything. Hope this brought some insight and how you could use the mate for making like full good sounding tracks. Yeah, if you have any questions, like let me know in the comments, and I'll see if I can answer everything. Thank you. Bye.